if you've got something sitting in there that's not getting used, the quicker we can get it, the more valuable it is to you, and the more really that we can turn it around.
Yeah.
And we see so much of that where I get it. I'm the same way. You know, my daughter, she's outgrown this and it sits up on the shelf, and all of a sudden 2 years later, you're kind of going, my gosh, what if I could have gotten rid of this 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we definitely need that.
This is the Buffalo Community Podcast, all about the greatest small town in the USA, the people in it, and how it all works together. Here are your hosts, Tyler Reiss and Mark Benzer.
All right, hey everybody, we're back for the Buffalo Community Podcast. We got another fun episode for you today, but Mark's going to take care of our intro.
Yeah, sure. So today got with us the newish owner, Played Again Sports here in Buffalo, new face in town, and been the owner since July 1st of last year, so just hit a year. Jeremy Mathwig, thanks for coming in and being with us.
Thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
So, you've been, as I said, been the owner of Played Again Sports for a year. You're not from Buffalo. You currently live in Maple Grove, correct?
Correct.
So, I guess what was the process of buying the store and then your impressions of Buffalo so far?
I'm going to jump in 1 second. For the people who don't know what Played Again Sports is, what is it?
We buy and sell new and used sporting equipment. So we're a sporting goods store, but we buy all of your used equipment as well, especially, you know, our major markets, probably 4 to 14. Kids are always outgrowing their shoes in the middle of the season and stuff like that. So that's our main stuff is, probably 50-50 new and used.
Sure.
Excellent.
Well, to answer your question, Mark, first of all, we love Buffalo, so we couldn't be more happy that we're here, and we'll get into that a little bit, but the story's kind of funny. I'd been in the staffing industry for 20 years prior to this, and I was really getting burned out and just needing a change and everything like that, and I always told all my friends who would come to me over the years, I want a job, I want this, and the first thing I told everybody is, or asked them, I said, when's the last time you took a vacation? And, not a vacation where you're sitting at home, fixing stuff in your garage and stuff, a true vacation where you get out and you recharge your batteries. I'm a big person, I think that's important. And a lot of times I'd have friends that would take a vacation, then come back and talk to me. And someone would come back and talk to me and say, hey, you're right, I'm good, I needed it. So I was getting to that point, and my wife said, well, we're going on vacation, so think about it. So we were sitting at the airport. We ended up having about a 14-hour delay at the airport and stuff. And we were walking around doing laps in the airport. And I kind of came to the conclusion after vacation that I was leaving my job and I was done and I needed to get out. And so all of a sudden, out of the blue, we were kind of looking at some things. And my wife tells me about this store for sale in Buffalo, Played Again Sports. And I go check it out, talk to the previous owner, and then we were also doing some stuff out in North Dakota at the time. And so I kind of was balancing, going out there, checking out, deciding what I was going to do. And I wake up in a hotel. I'm in Minot, North Dakota. About to go out there, do some stuff. We got property out there, oil wells, stuff. And all of a sudden, stock market closed down. I wake up, I got in town about 2 in the morning. I come down to have some waffles. It's about 8 o'clock. I'm watching the news, and the stock market's closing. Oil's crashing. I'm sitting here going, what the heck's going on?
Yeah.
I proceed to go out to Williston and have like the best meetings I've ever had. Everything goes great. And I'm like, what is going on? The world seems to be falling. COVID was starting to come, and we were just starting to know what it was. And so I'm like, what the heck's going on? So anyways, on the drive back, a competitor calls and offers me a job. And but they were, instead of a management role, it was more of a sales role. So I'm like, maybe that's what I need, step back out of management. So I accepted the role with everything, this turmoil. And started it. In the first month, everything was amazing. I was less pressure and stress. I'm getting home on time, and my family's happy. And all of a sudden, we took a leave of absence. COVID hit, and things started to change. And I can tell to this day, I was standing in the parking lot downtown St. Paul watching. And I don't mean to get political. There's no political about this, but
sure. I'm
standing in a parking lot watching people loot the Holiday next to us and riot and do all this. And I'm like, this is not where I want to be anymore. This isn't what I want. And all of a sudden, we just kind of gone back, and I went home to my wife that night and said, look, I really want to get out, and there's a reason I wanted to get out of this. It wasn't just a management piece, and so we kind of started talks up with the owner again, and literally like 2 weeks later, we agreed to a deal, and I put my notice in, and moment. I mean, it happened so fast, and there we were. And then, like July 1st, I was standing in a store going, "What the heck just happened?
Yeah.
I know nothing about
This
this."
is mine.
And that's exactly it.
Yeah, like soccer cleats. I don't know.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
Let's look.
Yeah. Hockey's our number one sport. I never played hockey.
Well, you better get to know hockey.
Well, I got to tell you, the availability of little girls' shin guards, excellent, because we lost like 4 of them throughout the season, and it's like, well, let's swing by, like, please tell me you have them, and your employee there. I said, okay, these are perfect. I said, well, does he really want pink? Well, it's a daughter, but that would have been really funny. I would have made him wear them for him losing his shin guard. So thanks for that availability. Every employee that I've seen there and encountered with, excellent advocates for everything in the store as well. So,
well, thanks for saying that. We are blessed. Our staff is amazing, and we. My wife and I, we thank God every day for that. I mean, for real, we hear the horror stories and stuff, and I look around and I just sometimes like, yeah, you're right, I understand. Mine are great.
Yeah, you're right.
Sorry about your problems.
Yeah. That's awesome. So, previous owners, Al Kreb and Dan Bendhay, I mean, they have put a lot of time and effort in bringing Play It Again Sports here, establishing it. What was that transition like in terms of kind of going from, the original owners to transitioning the store over to you?
It's a funny that you bring that up. It was a goofy transition in the sense of, first of all, Al and Dan, the foundation that they built for this store is amazing. I mean, it really is. And the knowledge that they have in sports and the things that you hear. Mm-hmm. And to just see that, like you would hear things, and when Al's telling you about it, you're kind of negotiating, you're talking about this. I'm a business person, and my wife always laughs because I'm always skeptical and everything. I mean, I always take everything at face value. Like, yeah, you're trying to sell me. Yeah, I get it. But it was amazing. And so then to see, one of the things he would always talk about is the range, the radius that you have of customers, and you're going, please, you don't have a 30-mile radius. Mm-hmm. And you do. You come in and you're like, oh my gosh, people are going, Montrose, it doesn't matter. I mean, Waverly, this is the only store around. And the other thing that's amazing that he would talk about and you would see so much is the family, the generations of people coming in, and you're seeing it so much. Oh yeah, I brought my kids and the grandkids, and they've been around since the mid-90s here in Buffalo. Yeah. So it's just amazing to see that, and now you're watching the parents bring their kids in and talk about when they used to, Mark, you're a great example, and used to shop or whatever. And where Al knew them all, and they all knew Al, and it was that was very intimidating at first to come in as a new person, especially, and not to shift gears, but to come into a community like Buffalo, where growing up in Apple Valley and then being in Maple Grove, and I say the greatest thing is every day I come into work, and I know it's going to take me a half hour to get to work. When I worked in the cities, it was 30 minutes or 90 minutes. I didn't know when I left the door what it was going to take me. Yeah. But it's like I said I cross over that river, and it's like this paradigm shift. Like it's just like my stress goes away. I feel good, and we feel so welcomed into the community, and everybody's been amazing. I mean, it just is, and you watch that and you see with Al and what they had done and how it was, and it's. And I say this, but it's almost like you're watching a TV show or a storybook thing. I mean, it is. It's this little town, and it's we love it. We couldn't be more.
You sure know how to.
Well, on behalf of the rest of Buffalo, you're welcome.
Yeah, thanks.
That's great. So I guess maybe, hopefully this is okay to ask, but did you have a lot of, getting into retail? This is a really hard time. You're no longer competing against other stores, but the online, retailers, the Amazons. Was that a big factor? Was that an intimidating factor? Was that something that you aren't as concerned about?
It was a big factor. I'd asked a lot of friends. I put Facebook posts out there, different things. I was asking people's opinions. I mean, we knew you're right. We bought a store in the middle of a pandemic. It wasn't like, you're right, the store wasn't like everything's booming and we knew where we were going. And I laughed. Someone asked me this the other day. My wife said to me, well, what's, your number one concern, or what's worst case scenario? And I always try to look at both. And I said, well, worst case scenario is, if they cancel hockey in Minnesota. I said, that's not going to happen. We're in Minnesota.
Right. Yeah.
And
then they did.
Yeah. And so then, the first was, so then I want to say around August or September, all of a sudden I start hearing rumblings out of Texas that they're going to postpone Texas football. And I come home one day and my wife can tell, and she's like, what's wrong? I'm like, they're going to postpone Texas football. She's like, well, how does that affect you? I'm like, well, if they're going to postpone football in Texas, that means they can postpone hockey in Minnesota. Like that, I thought there was no chance. Like those two things were like untouchables, you know.
Right.
And so as soon as they postponed that, I knew that we were, in a sense, doomed in terms of now it's a real thing. So we were sitting around and we were worried, yes. And so the pandemic and all this, and sales were slow, and then they canceled. Well, they ended up canceling, but you know, eventually kind of brought football back, but there wasn't much to it, and people weren't buying equipment. And so I joke sometimes October I would sit there and I went over to Walmart. I think I finished 4 books in October. Some days I was sitting in a little chair in front of my store outside. It was beautiful weather. I'm reading books. I might have to get up 3 or 4 times to go in the store, and 2 of those times I'd probably go to the bathroom. You know, I mean, it was like no customers coming in and nothing, and sales. You know, a couple $100 a day if you're lucky. And November was coming around, and I got offered a sort of a side job to go pick up a vehicle. And I told my wife, I said, I think I'm gonna do it. You know, I haven't had a paycheck in a while, and money is looking a little tight. And so I remember to the day. It was like November 30th, and it was a Tuesday, I think. And one of my guys came in from the school, and we'd been busy that day. All of a sudden, like from like 10 to 2, I'd done like $500 in sales. And I was like, oh my God, like that's more we'd done in like total days for like 2 months straight. And he says to me, we kind of laughed and joked. Nobody came in for the rest of the day. So I'm like, we'll see what happens when you come in, everybody comes away. So, you know, the next day it was kind of the same thing. And then
Your
Thursday.
employees are great.
Yeah, they're great, but they're apparently bad luck. So Thursday, same thing comes in, and he comes in, and I'm like, well, you know, it'll probably slow down now that you're here. And it never stopped. And then there's like December 2nd. And so from like December 2nd to January 31st, we were just like nonstop busy. And it was insane. So we finally realized, okay. But I also finally understood the concept of Black Friday and retail. And like you really do kind of struggle for 9 months and make it up for 3 months, you know. But I don't know this year. Is that an aberration? Is that just people, you know, I mean, I know everyone was rushing to get out. And I mean, I couldn't get enough hockey skates in last year. And it was just so people wanted to get outside and get out. So we're hoping it's the same. But yeah, it was scary. It was, I mean, I go from getting a paycheck regularly to do this and to not having one, and then to sitting around looking one day, literally in October, November, going, what did I do? Did I make the biggest mistake for my family? You know, I mean, these sales really are going away. And it was terrifying, and I mean, I know my wife. She didn't say it, and you know, I love her to death for that. But I have no doubt she was sitting there going, "What did my husband just get us into?" And you know, and stuff like that. And so,
you're making me uncomfortable. Just like,
but so
kudos.
Far, but so far it's working out. You know,
that's awesome.
So as we're kind of rolling, we're midsummer right now. I mean, what? It's cyclical. Hockey's the biggest thing in the store. I mean, what's the craziest thing someone said, hey, can you come and get me a, I don't know, what's that game they play in overseas? Cricket. Can you give me a cricket bat?
Gosh, that's a good question. I should have been prepared for something like that. I'm trying to think.
I didn't know I was going to ask it.
No, I know. And we haven't had cricket, so I'm trying to think. There was some, you know, I mean, it just, you see everything. I mean, you know, it is weird because you think of hockey, baseball, golf.
Yeah.
You don't realize everything that it's going into. You know, you know, you had these. I don't know if I should say this on air, but we used to joke. We had, when I first got there, the joke was if we'd ever get anyone to buy, we had like this leopard print goalie cup, you know, like with jockstrap and everything like that. And we got someone to come in and buy it, you know.
There you go.
But it is.
Congratulations.
Nobody else has one.
No one has one. But it is. But it is funny though. There is things that you get in, you're like, there's no way that's going to sell, and it does. And then at the end of the day, there's always one. You're looking for that one person that is looking for that. Yeah.
So, and for families that are, hey, our kids are done with this season, they're growing like weeds. Do they just come in and see you if they want to give stuff back or sell stuff to? I mean, do you do that? I mean,
yeah, and that's our bread and butter. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what's the most important. And I'm glad you brought that up because that's probably where we need people to understand a little bit more how we work. And you're right, you bring in goods in, we buy them, and we're buying all year round. I mean, there's seasons, but like for hockey, I always need it. And if we start to see that we've got too much of something, we might slow down. But don't let a season, you know, bother you. I have to stock up. That's what I've got to do. And if I wait till it's too close to hockey season, I'll never have it. But one of the things that I think that I'm finding, and I'm no different. I look in my garage all the time and see it. we wait too long. You know, I think the season's ending, and you've got those. You know, sometimes I don't know if someone thinks that, hey, maybe I'm going to somehow fit into these size 7 shoes, and now I'm a size 9.
Right.
And or with technology changing in sports so fast, where you know I get that baseball bat. Well, if you let that sit in your garage now for 3 years, sometimes that stuff's almost obsolete nowadays. You know, even though and you're coming to me going, and as we all know, when you get older, you're like, oh, I just bought it last year, and then you're like, well, wait a minute, actually that was like 3 years ago.
A couple of years ago.
Yeah, and I get you might have other kids or you might have stuff, but if you've got something sitting in there that's not getting used, the quicker we can get it, the more valuable it is to you, and the more really that we can turn it around.
Yeah.
And we see so much of that where I get it. I'm the same way. You know, my daughter, she's outgrown this, and it sits up on the shelf, and all of a sudden 2 years later, you're kind of going, oh my gosh, what if I could have gotten rid of this 2 years ago? So yeah, we definitely need that. And we'll give you a little extra. You know, if you're coming in and you're buying something as well. You know, there's probably, you know, like maybe if you're getting $50, we might give you $55, or if you're doing store credit. So there is an advantage to bringing it in while you're purchasing your next products. You know, it might be 10% or something like that. So.
Cool. On a personal side, you're married. You mentioned your wife a couple times. Your name is Jennifer, correct? And then also just mentioned a daughter. Do you have one daughter, or?
I've got one daughter, yeah, and Jen, I should mention, so I'm sure showing me, she's actually 51% owner of the store, you know, so she's the majority owner. She should be the one here.
All right, cut it.
Yeah.
All right. Scrap this, throw it away.
Sometimes I wonder where she is, but she likes to come in and then tell us what we need to do in the store, and then we don't see her for a couple months.
Right.
No, Jen works for a company called Extrudex. It's actually a super amazing company. They're not local, so I won't get too much, but they're Maple Grove. She works for a phenomenal boss, and he's invented a product called Gear Tie, and he's invented some other products. You can find them in the stores, but it's super cool. She's actually got a cool story and a cool job, and my wife's amazing. I'm very blessed. Together we have a daughter who's 16. She's going to be a junior at Maple Grove High School. She's big into volleyball. She's played some softball too, but mainly volleyball. I have a son who's going to be 30 this year as well, and then we also have 2 grandkids. 7, going to be 7 here next week. She's super excited, and 8. So we do a ton of family stuff. My wife's from Big Lake, so she's actually from this area, and she likes to tell me a lot of stories about Buffalo and back in the day when they would play Buffalo in basketball and cheerleading stuff.
Back in the day.
Yeah.
Like it. That's awesome. Well, is there anything that maybe we missed that you wish we talked about?
Not anything that we missed. I mean, this is an opportunity. I mean, definitely we thank the community, and we love being here. It's, you know, I do know that my wife says to me a lot that I'm a much better person the past year, and I feel it. Like I just, being in this community, being a part of everything, I can just tell I don't dread going into work. I love the people that we meet. I mean, we really do. This is just amazing, and I tell people this. You know, we had a plan. Our plan in life was our daughter. We moved from Golden Valley to Maple Grove. Our daughter was going to graduate high school. We were going to move back maybe on one of the lakes, and we were going to do this, and we were going to go to the uptown area. We were going to do this. We're now talking. I mean, and our plan now is to move closer to whether it be Buffalo or in between here and stuff like that. And it's just amazing. I mean, I never in a million years thought that I would be moving out this way. And this just wasn't me, and this wasn't where I was. And it's just we love it. We love the community, and we're so excited to become more of a part of the community. And we really do feel like, and you know, I don't know what everybody knows, but there's kind of a void with, but you know, there's some retails. There was a retail store that did some clothing and stuff, and there was a store in town that did some sporting goods with the associations and stuff, and they just kind of gone away, not for any reason, but just as us. And so we do feel like there's a void that we can bring in of other things, and we're excited to grow with the associations and everything. So if there's anything anybody out there ever wants to reach out to us for, or, you know, how we can be a more of a part, please do. You know, we'd like to get more involved actively in the community and different stuff, and because we're new, we're also learning how to do that, and I've dropped the ball on a couple things, missed a couple things, you know, and we'll learn more of that next year. But please do come into us, and you know, anybody, any ideas and suggestions.
Cool. And of course, in this video, we're going to put your contact information or the store website, all that stuff, so make it easy for them. And actually, Mark doesn't know I'm about to do this. It's something we used to do, we kind of went away with it, is like a speed round question. We didn't prep. So I'm going to go first while he's thinking about his next one.
Okay.
Burgers or pizza?
Pizza. Sausage pizza.
Mountains or beach?
There you go.
Yeah. I'm probably more mountains.
Sure.
Yeah. My wife's more beach.
Yeah. Okay.
Just because I'm on the spot, and this is Ford or Chevy. Or
Well, my first car was a Ford Probe, so that's an
Oh,
easy-
Oh,
sweet.
Yeah,
nice.
so
Yeah,
Ford.
manual 5-speed.
No, I didn't. It was not my second vehicle. Well, then I got after graduation, and my sister got my car. Then I got a small Ford Ranger, and that was a
Okay.
5-speed.
Nice.
Ford Pro.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think everybody knows somebody with a pro.
Yeah.
Yep. We've got some stories.
So no, it's usually the coolest guy, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I don't know if I was that, and I
Yeah.
my license plate back then it said touchdown on it too.
Yeah.
TUCHDWN.
Oh, that's fantastic.
What do you, on your commute in? What do you listen to?
I listen to a lot. Probably a lot of the '80s music, and probably '80s music.
Mhm.
Cool.
Mostly, yes.
Awesome.
So maybe not. What kind of books were you reading? I'm kind of a book guy. When was it? Business or?
Both. I love reading. I do. And
Still.
Danielle Steele. I've read some of hers.
Yeah.
If you're asking, I think I remember exactly what it was, and I think I had gotten the new. Was it the Mitch Rapp, the Vince Flynn books?
Yeah.
And the new one, he passed away, and the new guy. The name's on the tip of my tongue, so but that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So
New
his
Vince
book,
Flynn.
the guy who was writing his books. I think
Mhm.
that's during the time I had read
Sure.
a couple of those that I had not. Yes.
Cool.
Awesome. Rest in peace, Vince.
Yes.
My favorite author. Well, it's been great getting to know you a little bit. Thank you for the Buffalo Community Podcast and all of our followers, all 250 million of them.
Yeah.
We hope that you can go and visit Play It Again Sports, and thanks for tuning in.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.